Heather Mcdonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data, and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Whoop whoop. Heather Mcdonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have some burning topics I need to address off the bat. Yesterday in my Juicy Scoop Obsessed group, I get stories that I can then approve. And this is a private Facebook group of all my best Juicy Scoopers who are obsessed. And you can join as well. You just have to listen to the show and answer the question. Anyway, Thomas Martin let me know. Not Hoda and Jenna's Justin Sylvester ripping off Juicy Scoop this morning by doing this year's quote-unquote Scoopy Awards for celebrities. This is the first time I heard that they had a segment with Justin Sylvester called The Scoop. Someone has since told me that they even went so far in one of the episodes to say, next we've got Justin Sylvester with some Juicy Scoop and the Scoopies. Okay. Juicy Scoop, my show that's been going on for 7.5 years, the two words together, Juicy Scoop, as my show, has been trademarked, okay? That means they can't have a shirt that says, Justin Sylvester has the Juicy Scoop. He cannot sell that shirt, okay? But technically, this is not trademark infringement, but it is derivative of my brand. Now, the reason that it bothers me more so is that because this isn't some tiny little show. This is Juicy Scoop. For 7.5 years, I'm often number 2 in my comedy episodes, and I'm doing great thanks to all of you. Also, Justin Sylvester, I've known for years. He's come on my show where I did a long interview about his life, where he got a lot of fans from it. He came on we did a live, he was my guest on my live show in Pasadena. We since did each other's show during the pandemic. And somebody let me know around May, they're like, why doesn't Justin Sylvester follow you? And I go, I don't know. They're like, do you have some beef with him? I'm like, no. I mean, I even saw him at Craig's and I was like, hi. And he was a little weird, but I was like, oh my God, you're doing so great. And I even said with all the changes at E, Justin Sylvester should be the one to have the show. So this is why it really pissed me off and why I called him out on Twitter is because when you work on a show, even if this wasn't his idea, when someone would suggest something as a comedic writer in a creative situation, we would say to Keenan all those years back, oh, Keenan, that's a very similar joke to Joe Schmo has a bit. I just saw it at the Comedy Store. He'd be like, thanks for letting me know. I've talked about that before. Now, granted, a lot of people listen to Juicy Scoop every week that are in the industry, that are working on similar shows where there's hot topics and things like that. So probably someone came up with this, but I would think that Justin would go, wow, that's really similar to Heather Mcdonald. Could we come up with something else? You know? But instead, he blocked me and stopped following me so that I would never see him promoting that he did a segment called The Scoop. So to Jenna and Hoda, no. Do they probably know or care? No. You know? But the thing is, I have been on their show when it was Kathy and Hoda. I have been on all these shows. People know who I am. I was on E, which is owned by NBC. They know who I am. And this was just really shitty. And I am going to call them out on it. I think it's low creative ability on their part. I think it's sad. The only reason I know about it now is because Thomas was probably visiting his grandmother and she was watching it. So no, Juicy Scoopers weren't letting me know that this was a thing. But once I made people aware of it, 99.9% of the hundreds of comments and tags, people were pissed because Justin should know. He does know. He was well aware. He was probably embarrassed by it that he didn't speak up to these people or didn't try to come up with something more clever himself. So that's my feeling towards it. Will they do anything about it? I don't know. Have I heard from anybody at NBC or Hoda and Jenna or anybody or anything? I don't know. But what I would suggest is that going forward, you come up with a different segment for Justin. Okay, and stop jumping on what I've created by myself with absolutely no support of any PR firm or television show or anything. All right. So, as a small business owner, which is what I am, as a female, I support women. I hope that NBC does too, and come up with something else that's more part of Justin. Okay. Good luck to everyone over there and your show. And if you'd like to invite me on, it can all be bygones, and I'd love to bring you the real juicy scoop. And if not, you can act like you don't know who I am. What is a podcast? Never heard of her. Who? What? No, I was on your show to promote, I think, both of my books. I was on your show as a Chelsea Lately person, as an I've been on the show. Would you ask me to come on? No. Now, no, you don't, because you're stealing my shit. That's why you don't have me come on. And if that's not the case, then change it. Invite me or not. I really don't care. I'm doing so well thanks to my juicy scoopers. And I'm sorry that I had to release my beehive on everybody over at the Today Show. All right. I need to talk about Britney Spears. I want to be sensitive about it but I also want to fill you guys in, because you're probably like, what is going on? Her Instagram is back up. The latest stuff is that she's in the shower. She's saying, I changed my name to Brooklyn. She's taking video of herself in the shower. Another one is, I'm in Mexico. I want to have coffee with my mom because I never was allowed to have coffee. Okay, there's all that going on. About 4 days ago, or Friday, Perez Hilton did a very cryptic, TikTok where he's like, I heard from a very good source that something is wrong with Britney, but it's not what you think, and it's not the conspiracy theories, but it's bad. But I can't say what it is, but it's bad. And then other people came on. I saw about 5 different big Britney Spears influencer type person that follow this stuff saying, I heard too. I heard from Demois, and it's not what you think, but it is bad. But I can't say what it. Why can't you say what it is? Why can't you say, hey, someone DM'd me and said Britney has cancer, or Britney broke her ankle, or Britney lost her vocal cords, or whatever. Why can't you just say it and go, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's the story that Perez and everybody knows. Just say it, because it's kind of rude. So it gets people spinning. I don't even know if she's part of it. If Sam's part of it, if they want to get Heather McDonald Juicy Scoop to talk about it. The other stuff that's going on is Britney dead? Was there a body double that actually got married to Sam? And we have some, here's her Instagram with all the weird stuff that she's saying. I'm posting these from Mexico. Honestly, I have no idea, but I can see better. I was in the shower for 2 hours, but we can't reveal our bodies now. There's something about shooting in water. Wanted to see my eyes. So now she says, by being in the shower, she can see now. I guess apparently she was blind for a minute. Is that what Perez knew? Did she have a sight problem? This other one, Instagram doesn't like posts of people revealing their bodies. So instead of her showing her boobs with the little hearts over her nipples and her crotch, now I guess that's her way of being like, they won't let me show my body, so I'll go to Mexico in the shower and film myself now that I can see again. This is why it's very frustrating. I'm marking my eyes. I've changed my name to Brooklyn. This is before I got wet in the shower. Okay. Again, obsessed with the coffee. Annie said she really sounds like a middle schooler, because you know how middle schoolers, that's when your mom will take you to get a coffee or and you're like, oh, need my coffee before I take this test for 7th grade. That's what it sounds like. Okay. So now she's in Mexico. Okay. But what the weird stuff is, and I'm going to give this girl credit. Her name is Bear Hugs and Jugs. Anyway, she went and watched the video, or the wedding video, and there is a lot of weird stuff in Britney's wedding video. First thing I said was, this is so weird how sudden it was. Why was her photos of her in the hallway of her home with a broom and a ladder, not even good photos? The dress was very plain and simple, looked like a very inexpensive, something you could get at David's Bridal or even at Nordstrom's for $2.99. I thought it was very weird. People were like, why didn't she have professional hair and makeup? So people went down and really, and why was Sam's photos so beautiful and then hers were like fuzzy and not good? She also said, we know that Paris Hilton had to cancel something the day before to attend her wedding, which lets me know Paris found out just days, maybe a day before. Jason Alexander, her first husband, who's gone on the record and was arrested for being on a property that day. The reason he said he was is because he was talking to her all the time as friends. And remember when I talked about the guy, Billy Makeup, who was talking to me about how he was always talking to Britney? He was always in contact with Jason Alexander. This is over a year ago, or two even, before she got freed, and was saying, no, they talk all the time, Jason knows. So Jason, according to Jason, was her confidant. And that is why he was so shocked to hear she was getting married that day, because he was in the area and they were going to hook up and like go meet somewhere around Thousand Oaks and go on a walk. And that day he finds out she's getting married. He's like, what the hell? So a lot of people think she didn't even know she was getting married till that day. And they're like, you're getting married. Here's your dress. You know, it fits you. She didn't get to choose it. They think the choker, which I also thought was a weird choice, is a way that they could Photoshop maybe another person or her face onto a body that's getting married. These are all the conspiracy theories. So that, because maybe she didn't really get married. The people that supposedly have finally found her marriage license that was not even registered or whatever 2 months later. It's done in a way, according to these people, saying that it's a kind of marriage license in which confidential and that only one person was present. The reason people do this is maybe you're in the hospital, you're incapacitated, whatever, but you have to say, I want to get married, but you don't have to be present at the actual marriage ceremony. That is the kind Britney has. But we see Britney kissing him, or supposedly we see Britney in the wedding. So was that a body double? But then we see her with Paris, with Madonna. So I feel like, did she just come to the reception? Was she not there? Or is this all bullshit? But the photos are crazy. Of her during the wedding. Someone says this does not look like her. Now she has a veil over her face. Also, when she's getting married, her profile looks like a completely different nose. The photoshopping is very weird. When they're in the weird doorway of her house, which isn't even clean in the background. Well, I guess this is a mirror. I don't know. It's weird. But it doesn't look like her. Her hands are down. She's not even like holding Sam. There are some really weird things about it. And, the wedding did seem like it was thrown together. But I definitely think like Paris Hilton was talking and hanging out with Britney. But was she there for the actual ceremony of getting married? I don't know. I don't know what you could tell her and what she would believe. So that is all the discussion that's going on. TMZ came out and said she is not dead, thank God. But why is she pulling a Shelley Miscavige? Why doesn't she just do something right now and say, you guys, this is crazy. I was married. Sam is my husband. I was there. And I'm not sick, or I am, or I'm going through something, whatever. Or is she loving all of this as well? And this is the only way she stays relevant. Because just as I was about to like never talk about her again, and it's like, I'm done. I'm fine that you spin. I don't care anymore. Like my audience is getting bored of it. This comes up and it's pretty freaking juicy. So there you go. Last thing I want to discuss about is, these are some of more Perez stuff. And I wrote Perez and I was like, come out and say it, Perez. This is annoying. And he didn't write me back. Okay. I want to get into Sisterwives and why it has become such a huge hit this year, and why there's people like you that have never watched, that certainly haven't watched for 17 seasons, but enjoy my commentary. But I want to tell you what's so crazy about it. So they just had the first part of the sit-down tell-all where the host sits down with each person, the four wives and Kody. And he reveals some weird things. He says, my biggest fear is poverty. Not a child dying, not even being like a quadriplegic or nothing. It's poverty. That's very important to what I'm going to get into. And he also says that one time I thought about reconciling with Meri because Meri, on our 32nd wedding anniversary or something, made me her famous Krispy Kreme, her Krispy Treats, Rice Krispy Treats. And I went to the other women and I said, I'm thinking about reconciling with Meri. And Christine got furious and was like, I'm in a loveless marriage. I'm getting out of here, which makes you think, God, Christine, that's kind of shitty. Don't you want to all stay in the family together? Christine, I don't know what her response is, but Meri's response was like, I'm shocked to hear that he ever thought of reconciling with me after the Rice Krispie Treats. Because when I gave him the Rice Krispie Treats, I said, what if I kissed you right now? And he pulled back and was like, no. Okay. So it's clear Meri and he has not had sex for a very long time. Christine said we had not for like a decade. Janelle, I feel like maybe they have over the years since he's been married to Robyn. We know, of course, he's been having sex with Robyn. I never understood why the girls were fine with Robyn coming in, because Meri, Christine, and Janelle had been his three wives for many, many years, and they all came into the family within like a 5-year period. And so I can't remember how he met her, but they met and they kissed, and Christine was like, I was upset that they kissed before marriage because I did not kiss him because he was a married man until I married him in the polygamous way. They talk about the wedding. Christine said, my dad paid for my wedding, but we all paid for the wedding to Robyn with their funds. Remember, they all lived in their separate houses in the cul-de-sac in Vegas. We find Janelle, I think she was a realtor or something. She made the most money. They would all pool their money together. When Robyn came into the family, she was $32,000 in debt. That's all in past episodes of the show. People that have done the deep dive, as well as myself, they helped the women's, like the fund of all of their money together, which is how they did it, paid her debt off. He then divorced Meri to marry Robyn so he could adopt her 3 kids. Remember, he was also upset with Janelle saying the boys, their boys together, are too old to be living at home. They're over 18. They should get the hell out of your house. And Janelle's like, I'm not doing that. There's a pandemic. My sons are going to college. They have jobs. If I can support them with a roof over their head, I'm going to. She said, Kody always made me choose between my family and my kids and him. Meanwhile, at Robyn's mansion, in which we now know that Meri's profits, half of Meri's profits from her house in Vegas went to buying that house, along with Janelle's. Also, Janelle's 401k or something she cashed out to pay to help that house, which only the two of them, only Robyn and Kody are on that title. Not the 4-5 of them, just the two of them. So Janelle is really pissed at this point. She really got screwed. She's a smart lady. She worked hard, and she really has nothing to show for it, except hopefully this show will continue and she can keep a paycheck. So she has now said we are separated as well. And last week, Meri said it, even though we don't see it in the first section of the tell-all. So it's just he and Robyn now. Again, why did they ever leave Vegas? I always thought it was so weird that they left Vegas because they each had their own home. Why? Well, because they wanted those funds, I think, to go, and they're going to build this house in Coyote Pass, right? Why Flagstaff? Well, Robyn's older son was going to college there. But when you look back at the clips of how they convinced the other women, she's sitting back and he's doing a PowerPoint presentation to the other women of why Vegas is not home and why Flagstaff, Arizona is where it's at and why this is going to be so financially good for all of us and all of our kids and all of our adult kids. But let's also keep in mind, I have a 2-year-old and we need to think about my young kids, my 2 young kids that I had with Robyn. They have to be the priority, not your old kids that need to get the hell out of the house. And also at the house with Robyn during COVID that he lived there, her adult children were also living there, including Aurora that he cried that he couldn't see, and a nanny that Christine kept saying, what does the nanny do? Why did they need a nanny? They had adult girls, adult daughters and son that could help with their younger kids. They don't work. And, they're at home all the time. Why did they need a nanny? So it's really getting revealed now that Robyn came in wanting to be on the show, wanting to marry Kody, and wanting to do best for her 3 kids. And she found this was the best option. How the 3 women, Meri, Janelle, and Christine, signed off on it and thought it was good is the secret I want to know. What went down? What did Kody tell them of why bringing in Robyn was going to benefit their whole family? Was it because she was younger and could give them a couple more kids, and that's what the Lord wants? What was it? And so now they're all gone, and everybody's hoping that the show continues. It will. I think they're definitely still filming, and we're going to see their different lives and them dating or what. I don't know if the show will be as engaging in seasons to come if we don't see Kody being such a freak, dancing around with his curls, and it's like a knife in the kidney. I fought so hard to love you. I didn't want to because you ate those nachos, Christine, and it was disgusting. He is the worst. Those are literally lines he said. So I wanted to know why. You guys want to know why it's such a phenomenon it is? And he's entered my dreams yet again. I literally go to bed every night and say, no more dreams about Kody being back in high school because my kid was studying for finals. And please, no earthquakes. We just had one in Northern California. So that's why I say every night, no, Kody, get out of my fucking dreams. I don't want to see Robyn or anybody else in my dreams. I don't want to be living in Sisterwives in my nightmares. But I will talk about it on Juicy Scoop until the show goes off the air. Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have your favorite, one of your favorites. You don't need to say who is your favorite. We know they're all your favorites. Justin Martindale, and I have Justin, your adorable Barbie that, of course, I had at the Christmas party as your name card.
Yes.
And, Annie got the perfect gold magic marker to put your highlights in.
Yeah. She did a great job.
I mean, really cute. And then I have my Barbie, too.
Just out on the town, this is the Barbie remake that we deserve.
Really, truly. Just nicely dressed.
Mm-hmm.
Has a nice big foot.
Know what that means?
Yeah.
Still no package. Because they don't have one. It's just a weird bulbous front.
Okay, breaking news in the comedy world.
Yes.
There is a YouTube documentary out. It's about a half hour long that was brought to my attention, and of course I had to watch it. It's called The Chris D'Elia Problem. And it is done and produced by another comedian named Kyle Anderson. And just to remind people of who Chris D'Elia is, he was a very popular actor. He did a lot of acting. He was on Whitney Cummings' NBC sitcom like 10 years ago, or he was her love interest. He was really beloved in the comedy world as like a really funny guy. He comes from a very privileged Hollywood background. His dad was like a director or something. He was
producer,
big in the podcast world with like the top male comedians. And a few years ago, these women came forward who had evidence and everything, and a big LA Times article was written, I believe, about how they were pursued by him while in high school. He was well aware that they're in high school, and he had these Snapchats that he would go back and forth with them. And in one of the stories with one, I believe a Jane Doe who was coming forward, she alleged that she did get with him and he did forcibly sexually assault her. And other ones, it was that he pursued them on the Snapchat, send me photos, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, the other comedians that are friends with him are like, we want nothing to do with him. The fighter and the kid, they are like crying on their podcast. They can't believe this happened. We had no idea. There was
he got his own allegations too.
Right. Brian Callen then got his own, and then the two of them broke up. Mm-hmm. But now they're back together.
Sure.
I don't know. And kind of in this world of comedy, and which this could be a good or a bad thing, depending on how you feel about it. In a case like him, was he canceled? Is he canceled in the sense that he's not going to be doing a Coca-Cola ad and a lead in a sitcom? Absolutely.
Yes.
He's not going to be on, celebrity game show. He's not going to be doing that. But he can still have his podcast, have his Patreon, and go and perform in independent theaters. And if enough people go and pay tickets, he can have his thing. And if you want to go see him, fine. So he comes out a few months later and he does a pretty compelling statement. And he says, I'm working on myself. I'm going to rehab. I was inappropriate. I got to a place where getting girls was very easy. However, it was... the girls were never underage and it was always consensual. That's what he says. The lawsuits and everything go away.
Disappeared.
All gets dropped.
I remember, yeah.
All get dropped. And he has since gotten married to his girl that he had a child with. He does a lot of dad videos and all this other stuff. I had to stop following him. So today, this YouTube video comes out. Like I said, and I watched it.
This morning.
This morning, someone sends it to me and I'm like, holy. So I watched the whole thing. And I reached out. I had a private conversation with the person who did it, who is Kyle Anderson. You can follow him. He's a comedian right off the bat. He's like, I'm a comedian, and someone's going to say, you're doing this because you're not successful, whatever. But he really did his own like Netflix documentary on this. He went and got his former tour manager to say, I absolutely believe all these women. This is what I saw. I saw things. Basically, the shocking part is that what this YouTube doc claims, based on the people that were interviewed, is that after his I'm doing better and I'm a dad now and
apology,
he continued to pursue women under different Snapchats and whatever. And in doing it, the most crazy disturbed thing is that he jokes in so many podcasts, and he has merch and everything, that I have a cult and my followers are called babies.
Yes,
he says
that's been known, yeah.
And I've joked Juicy Scoop is a cult, Church of Juicy Scoop, blah, blah, blah. These are, the Juicy Scoopers, and we all have that type of fun stuff. But just the same way he played a creep in, what was he playing?
You.
In You. He played a comedian that was pursuing underage girls. Yep. It's like the truth and the lies. It's very interesting. And he... and with these girls, he had them tattoo his name like a CD, like a small, sometimes on the hand, sometimes on the neck. He would do obsessed with their weight, keeping them thin, much like Nexium in The Vow. He would get to like a mind space where he would say, they'd be on the one girl who's the main interview on this doc. She's like, he would get on the phone and be like, where are you right now? You've got to answer me. I have total control over you. And she would be like, he'd get on the floor right now. Get on your knees right now while they're on the phone. And she would for like, and then he was bringing out girls and saying, I want you all to live together. Because all the girls knew they were not in a monogamous relationship. Well, one, he has a wife, but also even like, I'm not the only mistress. I want you guys to all live together in an apartment in LA. This is what he said he wanted. It never happened. So I could, have a little fuck pad with all of you guys.
Yeah.
So this is what they're claiming. I think it's very well done. I think it's very interesting. He has dates in January in San Diego. He has one at the LA Improv. I guess the Comedy Store has banned him for now. You never know.
Yeah.
But he is at the Hollywood Improv. And I don't know if everybody buying tickets to him are all men and they don't care and, hey, it went away. It went away because they were paid off. In my opinion, I believe...
Not in your opinion.
In my opinion, I believe that these attorneys that were initially representing these young girls got a very generous offer from his attorneys.
Well...
And for the attorneys, it behooves them to settle. For the girl, oftentimes, you can go on with your life. You can go back to college. Here's a couple $100,000. He's a multi-millionaire. And not only does he have generational wealth, but he makes a lot of money off doing these big theaters. And so to pay off one girl, that's another night on the road for him. So that was, and he has the power of the Hollywood, people that he's friends with and through his father and everything to get this done. So it is my opinion that is why I think these girls went away.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
And, but.
Because, I mean, it's not like they didn't just go away. They just vanished.
Yeah.
It was like, I remember when all this went down, because we were all calling each other being like, are you seeing this?
Right.
And it was such a shock, because not only was it like, oh, we're in lockdown and COVID's happening, because it was like May or June of that year.
2020, yeah.
Yeah. And so we were all just kind of shocked, and then everybody just kind of dropped it. And everyone, like you said, disassociated themselves with him. And we were all kind of like, what's going on? And then I remember once the comedy clubs were opening up again, we were still doing outside shows. He would show up, and I remember people had to be like, hey, you need to go because we don't want TMZ being here thinking that you're
Or condoning this.
Right. Yeah. And so it's just really weird. I heard all the stories. I mean, as a witness to this behavior throughout the years, I mean, you can't say that he was not on top of the world. He was. He was the guy. Mm-hmm. People went crazy for him. Now, I was given the title of his babysitter. I don't know if you know this story.
No, I don't.
This is when around the time of, his hype, he would bring a different girl every night.
To when he had a set at the
When he had a set, and without fail, to the point where I was like, can anyone else see this? It was very bizarre. A different girl, sometimes they were, they looked of age, sometimes they did not. Sometimes I wondered if they were, biological women.
Okay.
Prostitutes, maybe. But it was a different woman every night. And we all knew it. And we just kind of were like, you know what? He's allowed to do his own thing. Whatever. Because he doesn't do drugs. He didn't drink. So.
And also in the doc, it's that's his whole thing. And people would argue, well, his addiction was sex addiction and women and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the comedian who put this together said, dude, maybe try a Bud Light. Maybe not take advantage of a woman. So what I found interesting is, I'm like, when was the last time he was seeing someone other than the woman he says is his wife? And it was as recent as April of 2022.
I mean, that's the thing. I think he had several relationships where he was cheating on his girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
And back to what I was saying is he would go do a set and he would come up to me and be like, hey, Justin, my girlfriend's here. And I'm like, great. And he'd be like, I'm going to go do a set. Can you just watch her out here? And
watch the girlfriend to make sure that one of his other women doesn't approach her or what?
So I would be on the patio because, of course, I was a young comic at the time. I'm trying to fit in with everybody.
Yeah,
so I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And he knows that I'm not a threat. I'm not going to hit on her.
Right.
So I can entertain her or whatever. So what was happening was I'm on the patio watching this girl just get drunk and, and I'm just kind of like, okay.
And was that the current wife?
No.
This is a different girlfriend.
So many, Heather.
Okay.
It's crazy. So while I was on the patio, he was in the hallway with his foot on the wall,
Yeah.
And, you have all these other girls come talk to him while I'm outside on the patio talking to her. To the point where I said, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. I know what you're doing. I think it's gross. I'm not doing this anymore.
So.
And then he'd walk by me and pretend that he didn't know me or whatever. And whatever. It's just so gross and toxic and disturbing that. And, I know stories how, they'd get nude pictures from girls, and him and his friends at the time would all sit around in a circle and look at him, and
they bring up the nudes in this.
Yeah,
doc,
they do.
Where they say what he would say is he would send nudes of other girls that he was seeing to a girl and go, I want you to copy this same position of nude and send it back.
Yep.
And make sure that the tattoo of the CD is showing.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me at all.
And so they were like, and a couple of the girls, did eventually talk to each other and I don't know. It's crazy. I suggest you watch it. It's like a half hour long. If you're interested, be aware.
It's just
someone could
gross.
say maybe he's going to come out and go. Maybe he's going to go to sex rehab again. Maybe he's not going to address this at all because it's on YouTube. Though, however, it's only been a few hours and it's over 50,000 views. Once I talk about it on Juicy Scoop, I think more people will be interested. I just think people should know.
For sure.
This is just know who you are
supporting
and spending your money on and looking. And if you still find it funny and you want to go to the show, of course, that's your right. And if the venue still wants to put this person up, that's their right. But it's also the right of the girls that the victims and who he was a predatory person to, and he mind fucked them, and he would always threaten suicide. He'd be like, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
And one of those guys, if you like all that type of stuff.
Yeah, these are people's daughters.
Yeah.
Their children, they move out to LA and they think they're going to get swept up in Hollywood and get to go all to the coolest premieres and go to the, coolest parties, and they just get brainwashed,
Yeah.
And it's sad, and I can't wait to watch it, but it's definitely a problem. The Crystalia problem.
There you go.
However, I do think
Yeah.
you need to start a Juicy Scooper cult, get the Gwen Shamblin hair, and take it from there. See what happens.
Well, I know Kris Jenner has her own church.
Who?
Kris Jenner has had her own church for many, many years.
Of course she does.
As you know, churches are still not taxed, which is why a lot of churches start. And so I have no desire to make Juicy Scoop a church.
Don't make it a church.
Because I am happy to pay my taxes.
Good.
But there you go. So that's maybe it. Okay, so Harry and Meghan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you notice. This is going to be a little triggering for you.
Is it?
There is a K jeweler situation happening. Who was our other favorite spokespeople from K Jewelers?
Jonathan Bennett and James?
Right.
Yes.
They were the first gay couple to get a K jeweler deal.
Uh-huh.
Now, what the K jeweler commercial, which I saw, has a very much of a H&M lookalike.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're getting a necklace. Our love is entwined. The girl has dark hair. She has a perfect little cute nose from the side. She really does look like. And then he comes around and he has a ginger beard. And so they're saying
that is the double. Oh, I thought that it was actually him.
It's not actually them. They really did find some, which I think is pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty brilliant. Whether you hate him or love him, we're talking about K Jewelers.
It's Hallmark for jewelry.
Yes,
it really is. It's truly Hallmark jewelry.
Yes.
You can't spell love without a K. Jewelers.
I've talked a lot about
the documentary.
Harry, but I mean, if you want to give your opinion, have you watched any of it?
No, but Evan and I have talked about it, and we're just annoyed.
Yeah.
We haven't even seen it. We just think it's just so much.
Yeah.
Just from what we see is the coverage goes. I mean, it's always in the news, but I don't know what the overall critique is of the series, but I'm just kind of tired of all of it.
I did see a really funny sketch about if you're an angry old white man, especially
Pierce
if you're
Morgan.
English. We have a call line, a helpline for you to call, and it shows these guys being like, "Who does she think she is?"
Yeah.
And it was pretty funny. That people got, and that's also funny too, to get so riled up about your hatred for her or whatever. So, according to Page 6, the Montecito, California compound where Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, H&M, shot their highly anticipated 6-part Netflix doc has hit the market. And it is for $33.5 million.
Commoners.
So this is the house that they bought. Can you look up I believe they paid $16 million for it. Mm-hmm. And now they are selling it.
Doubling it up.
And I believe they are the owners. And that's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what they're going to get, if they're going to get something smaller, if they're trying to scale down just a little. Maybe just to They paid $15 and they're selling it for $33.
Yeah.
What year did they pay 15?
I mean, it was probably what, 2008?
No.
No. When did they get
2008,
married?
what do you
When did they
mean?
get
June 2020, Meghan and Harry purchased their multi-million-dollar estate.
Yeah, 2020.
So wait a minute.
$14.7 million.
They paid $14.7 million in 2020, and now it's 2022, and they're asking $33 million.
Because that's where it was. Because that's the location. They're doubling it up because they were like, now it's like a thing.
Okay, I'm going to predict what it goes for.
Okay, go for it.
Hold on. It's going to go for 26.5.
Okay, good.
Okay. So
Selling Montecito over here.
yeah.
Excuse me. Pardon.
Curious to see what they get. I assume they'll stay in the area, but I heard this was a pocket listing, and I did write Josh Altman. Oh, can you see who has the listing? I did ask Josh Altman because I was like, do you know about this? Is this true? This was like a month ago that they were. So I think they might have not. I think they were fishing to find a buyer, and then without putting it on the market because they didn't want people to question, speculate why they were selling. But now it is officially listed. Do you know who has the listing? Can you find out?
I will say this. I have a prediction.
Yes.
Harry's book comes out in
yes.
January.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's going to set the tone for the next chapter of this whole Meghan and Harry thing. Because I think it's going to really disrupt the royals. I think he's going to get a little too, what's the word? Honest?
I just wonder what more there is to. Well, let's see. I guess we'll get little chapters of like, when I was 12, this happened. When I
Yeah.
was 15 at boarding school, I have a funny story about this. Just like
I
anyone's
hope
memoir.
that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I that's the thing that I don't like is this whole brother against brother.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you're really rooting for them because they were like, they both experienced this horrible, tragic loss of their mother when they were
Right.
young. They've been in the spotlight their entire lives, and you're just like, you want them to work it out, but it's like, you're hearing of William being like, cut it out, like, I'm the heir, like, have we learned nothing from the crown?
I guess
it's like,
not.
It's a thing. It's the monarchy. It's the
I always just wonder
the sovereign.
Yeah, what like scoop are we going to get from the book that you saved for the book? Because I just saw that Lamar Odom is doing something, a TMZ sit down. There's also Hulu doc.
Oh, where he's like,
Lamar-
I loved Chloe and cocaine.
Yeah.
With a K.
And I'm like, but I also I stayed at my friend's house and on a vacation, and she had the Lamar book, and I ended up reading the entire book.
Wow.
It was not hard. It was
Well, I mean,
very big print.
And someone had to.
yeah. And what is he going to reveal that he didn't reveal in that book?
Yeah.
So it's just a way to make money and regurgitate the story. But I was at the Laker game on Sunday, and I said, what's so sad is I remember when they first got married, Chloe and he, and they'd go to all the games, and there was a game where the opposite team
Had the heads?
had the faces of Chloe, and I'm like, oh, that was so cute. That was before we knew that, you were a cocaine, sex addict, horrible person, and you and Rob were doing who knows what in her basement while she acted like she was trying to get pregnant when she clearly wasn't because she knew you were a fucking mess. Like, those were the fun times.
But also, that was 5 faces ago.
Yeah. They couldn't use those. They couldn't use
them again. It was a one-time deal.
Oh, my God.
By Nest Seekers.
Oh, it's listed by Nest Seekers. That's a high-end. I know they have them in New York, too. So there you go. Don't Pick Up the Phone is on Netflix.
Yes.
And I remember this story. It happened in 2005 where this guy would call fast food restaurants, ask to speak to the manager and say, because I'm a police officer. And the first episode is this is all I've seen, is a very disturbing thing where he then instructs this 51-year-old female manager of a McDonald's.
Donna Summers.
Her name is Donna Summers,
Which I was
is
like,
so weird.
What?
And he says, I'm a police officer, and we got word that this employee of yours, and he describes a girl that actually works there. She was young, she was brunette, has stolen someone's wallet. Can you bring her in? And they keep asking her to, can you check her to the point where they She gets her completely naked.
Yes.
And then she's like, I have to go. Like, what should we do? And he goes, you go and cover the burgers. Do you have anybody else? And she goes, yeah, I have my 50-year-old fiance who can come. Okay, put him on the phone. He can watch her. Then they instruct this guy who, up until this point, had led a pretty exemplary, normal life.
Church, like leader in his church.
Yes.
Like well-respected man around the neighborhood. Go on.
And then says, okay, and the girl's just sitting there, okay, and she's covered in like totally naked.
Has an apron, like a black apron
Yeah,
on
he
her.
goes, there might be something in her. Can you have her,
Kiss you.
no, jumping jacks?
Jumping jacks and run in place.
And then she needs to sit on your lap so you can smell her breath in case she's taken any drugs. And to the point where he then says, now she has to give you oral. And he does.
And he does.
And he's engaged to Donna Summer.
I know.
While she's flipping burgers.
Last chance.
So then he goes, I got to get out of here. Now all of a sudden he had to wake up like, wait. So
what did
he
I
leaves,
just do?
Still on the phone with a fake cop. Finally, Donna Summers brings in another older man who's the janitor. And she explains to the janitor, and he goes, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on? Hangs up the phone, calls the cop. A detective comes. He's absolutely horrified that this poor 18-year-old girl was put through this.
It was his neighbor.
It was a
the
neighbor,
neighbor's
and she
daughter.
was like a church-going person, and she was intimidated and was always told to do it, what to do, follow all the rules and follow your superiors and, do what you're told. And so it's a doc, and I don't know how it ends.
I didn't either. That's all I watched. I was so grossed out.
I was pretty grossed out. I don't know if I'll continue.
I don't think I will either because I was like, I don't need to know the Taco Bell story of this. I don't need to know the Burger King episode either. There's 3 episodes.
But I remember when it was going down, and I was like,
hey, no pun intended, okay?
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, it does make you, it's a big manipulation, but it also makes you go, these are people that
Simple
work
folk.
an hourly job that have a task that they do over and over again. And again, this guy is like a master manipulator. And and I can see how it can happen. There was a very popular podcast and series and everything called The Queen of Con. The Hollywood Queen. The Hollywood Con Queen. The Hollywood Con Queen. It is crazy. And then basically this person would call all these people that worked in Hollywood, but they were like below the line people, like a stuntman, maybe a stylist, whatever.
A key grip?
Yeah. And
I love a key grip.
And reach out and be like, and pretend to be this powerful woman executive and get them to go over to Thailand or someplace that they're doing a movie and get in a car and go around and keep paying this cab driver. And it was like the scam was not for a lot of money. And in the end, you realize that this person that was pretending to be all these people just got off on seeing how far they could push someone. And the part of the scam was that the person was excited to be getting closer to their Hollywood goal, which is really cruel.
Manipulation.
So I had 2 things happen in the last week.
What?
I was golfing with my son, Drake.
Okay.
And I got a text. Hi, Heather. Let me know if you got this text. Brian Roberts, CEO of Comcast Networks. So I'm like, now Comcast used to be part of E or own E.
Yeah.
So we were always part of Comcast. And I'm like, I don't know. Is this some guy that remembers me from E and he's got a real opportunity for me? So I said, yes, this is Heather. And he said, good. I'm in a conference call meeting at the moment. Can't talk on the phone. Need you to get something done for me. That word, I was like, and so I said, Drake, I think I'm part of a scam. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, it is fun.
So I said, okay. And he goes, I need to provide a client with some Visa gift certificates. This is the CEO of Comcast.
Yes.
Can you confirm if you could grab some of that any of it at a store nearby? Now, wait, our first one. So I look him up, Brian Roberts, CEO of Comcast. Looks like a very respectable guy.
Sure.
So I'm like, this is so hilarious. As if this guy is needs to get gift cards for who? What client? NBC?
Yeah.
What fucking client do you have?
Do
Okay.
you have an assistant? Or a secretary?
So I'm like, let's see how far I can go with
Okay.
this. So I say, how do I know you? Do I know you from the network a while back? And he says, yes. And I said, that Christmas party was something I'll never forget. Are you single now?
Work.
Because I'm like, of course I'm with my son. I'm Drake. I'm
Yeah.
like, Drake, I'm going to be like that we got fucking busy in a closet. And he's like...
Yeah. Yeah. How far? How far are you going?
Anyway, it stopped there.
He didn't get back to you.
And so I'm like, is this guy like have many different phones and computers going and just seeing who he can convince? And already I'm taking too long. So he found someone else. Then it happened again, a different number.
Yeah.
What can you DoorDash me? Why can you DoorDash me Diet Coke? It's late, but I haven't had one all day. Hey. And I go, who is this? Maddie. I'm dying for some Diet Coke. I write, I don't know you. Please. I go, no. Pretty please. I said no. And then
What is this? The Watcher Diet Coke?
I know. So then I look up Maddie, and it's obviously a fake thing.
Sure.
It's 3 cute photos of a cute girl named Maddie. Chic AF, keep faith in God.
Sure.
And 3 posts. And so that was that.
This is a thing.
Very strange.
I get the same thing too.
Okay.
I had my first fake account made on Instagram. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Justin Martindale, 1975. Not me.
Okay, you guys.
Not me. Just letting everyone know.
It's not.
And they...
Also, that's not the year you were born, right?
How dare you? No, it was not. It was 98.
I know. So...
But it was, but I was like, wait a minute. And so what they would do is like hit up my friends, DM them and be like, hello, rosebud emoji.
Okay.
And my friends who know me are probably like, this is not real, scam or whatever. And he'd be like, no. How is your family doing? Are you
This
doing
is all
okay?
on Instagram DM?
Yeah, all on
Okay.
Instagram DM. So I report it. They all reported it, whatever. But I get the same thing. I'll get like these random text messages and it'll just say, hi. I'm like, what are you doing? You bored, sad person. I don't get it. I like the idea and the notion of like going a little far and being like, oh my God, like, so what's going on?
I get a lot on social media.
Have they found the body yet?
Of like guys trying to act like they're into me,
Mm-hmm.
and so if I was a lonely gal, maybe I would start. Next thing I know, I've given some Nigerian $80,000 and I think we're going to be on 90 Day Fiance. I don't know. That could happen. I
is
understand
weird.
how it can happen.
Well, and I also get the ones like I had one where it was like it was like through email where it's like, your annual payment went through for your security for McAfee or whatever, like, and I'm like, wait a minute, did I get charged $450? And Evan's like, no, it's a scam. And I'm like, and it pisses me off because this is a thing. Like, I'll get a text being like, your Netflix account has been activated by someone else. Click the link. And my mom is like texting me. She's like, is this a scam? Is this a scam? And I'm like, yes, it is. And it makes me sad because they're like taking advantage of these like elderly people who are not tech savvy.
Okay, your mom is smart to do that because,
Yeah.
I do
Well,
that.
I told her.
I pretty much don't touch anything, but I always do confirm, like, even like if we're shopping and, Peter and I, we have the same credit card and they were at the Foot Locker. Well, that's not a place I shop.
Right.
And so then they said, like, is this you? And then I'll go, did you guys go to Foot Locker? Yes, we're at Foot Locker right now. I'm like, okay, fine. But people, if you are questioning it, do call your son or, in my case, Justin Martindale.
Yeah. Same thing.
And just say, what should I do with this? Don't respond, screen grab it.
Do it.
But
I mean,
just
it's
don't,
a veil.
If anything seems weird, or your app, you've been locked out of your Apple ID email. Don't do that. Yeah.
You have not.
Yes.
I mean, it is crazy how much it has, like, gotten worse, It's I feel like Instagram, especially these other apps and whatnot, need to really kind of get it together because when do you know it's real? Like, what if someone's like really like, here, like someone's doing this? You're like, no, it's fine.
Yeah,
Scam. You're like, no, it's real. Nope.
Anyway, it's juicy if you want to watch it. And then to this guy, Brian Roberts, that party was amazing. No, I don't know.
You were mentioning 1-800 and 1-900 numbers a minute ago, and after I watched McTits or whatever. What?
McTits?
Don't pick up the phone. The McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
I went to the Miss Cleo documentary, which is way fun.
Tell me about that.
Do you remember Miss Cleo?
No, I do, but I saw little bits of it, but I have not watched it. So tell everybody what that's about.
So it's about Miss Cleo, the fortune teller. So it talks about like in the 90s, like I think it was like 1997. I thought it was like 94.
But I totally remember the commercials.
Right.
Stuff.
So it was like talking about like how before the internet, there was, there
were dating
sell
lines.
music, party with us. We're hot girls just looking to party. Call us,
Yeah.
And then there was like this psychic, network with Dionne Warwick had some. I think, what's his name? The guy from Star Wars, Billy D. Williams.
Yes.
And then Miss Cleo. And they were like, we just have these like, put ads in the paper, and be like, hey, we need a psychic. And so they just went to this warehouse and had a headset. People would call in, and they used her as the personality to tell the fortunes of people, whatever. But she was like a scam artist. She was like in Seattle.
Yeah.
And ran like a theater company, stole all the money, ran away. She said she had cancer to some people, and they were like...
Just the face of it, you mean?
She's the face of it, yeah.
Right.
So she would be like enthusiastic and be like, call me now for your free reading.
Right, yeah.
And like parodied on like
SNL,
SNL, Mad TV, Raven Simone did a thing, and That's So Raven. And it was such a pop culture moment. She had the turban, she was Jamaican, but wasn't. Like even Jamaican people were like, she's not Jamaican. Like she's appropriating our language, And and it was a 1-800 number, 1-900 number, and they would just keep you on the line for 3 minutes for free, and then that was their whole goal was to keep you on the line and charge you up a shitload of money. It's great.
As far as psychics go, please, if there's a juicy scooper that went to see a psychic at the end of 2019 and you recorded it and you listen back and you say, what will I be doing in 2020? And they say, I see you staying home a lot and gaining about 20 pounds. Then I will say that's the psychic that you should continue with.
It was funny because...
but the fact that all these psychics, nobody has come, no one I know has said, and I have a lot of friends that go, not a lot, but a handful, that go see psychics, which I am not a fan of, which I'm like, why do you do that? Nobody said, wow, did they predict the last 3 years of my life of like pandemic back and forth? I see you, like, I see your face being covered, then I see it not. Oh, now it's covered again. Now it's not covered. Now it's, like, I see you eating outside being very cold. Yeah. Very, very cold.
Yeah, you're going to have a bad day on Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah, nobody said that. So
it's funny because in the Mad TV sketch, they have Deborah Wilson, who played Miss Cleo. She was like, she got a call, and it was one of the other cast members, and she's like, I have a question. And she's like, yes, go on, girl. Give me a question. She's like, were you working on September 10th? She's like, hung up. This is obviously after 9/11 happened. Yeah. So it was like, how did you not predict this was going to happen?
Right.
Exactly. So it's really good. I say watch it.
So I just saw this on page 6, but the cover on the New York Magazine.
Nepo babies.
Nepo babies, which I started to hear people use this word maybe like 3 or 4 months ago and talking about a Nepo baby would be Gwyneth Paltrow. Both her parents were in the business, a Kate Hudson and then there's a lot of young ones too that are up and comers, and you don't even know that their parents were famous. They're your new favorite actress, which has always been the case.
Jamie Lee Curtis,
right?
So
on the New York magazine cover, it says she has her mother's eyes and her agent. Extremely overanalyzing Hollywood's Nepo baby boom by Nate Jones, and they have everybody in there like these. Like all these famous Nepo babies that with their little baby in their, like as they're going to the. Like in these little baby cribs. So who's this guy?
Who?
This black guy. What? How is he famous? I mean, who's his famous parents?
I don't know. That's who? Dakota Johnson next to him?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Anyway,
And, Zoe Kravitz, Johnny Depp's daughter,
Right.
Ben Platt, Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's daughter. Who's the girl next to her? Who's that one?
I don't know, but I want to read this article. Like, listen, yeah, it happens, and if your family owns a roofing company, chances are you're gonna, if you want to pursue it, you're gonna have the opportunity to learn how to be a roofer, and maybe one day take over your dad's business.
Yeah,
So I mean, if that's your business, and like literally you're looking to cast someone, and you naturally have the gene of both parents being in the arts and being actors, you might be a really good little actress. You might be also really pretty. And then you're at the house when the agent or the director is there and you're, 18 and they're like, well, we're doing this show about college girls. And well, my daughter's, was just the lead in the play. Okay, well, we'll have her read. Yeah, that person's going to have a better opportunity than the really good actress at Oklahoma City High who also killed it on stage.
Because there's already a buzz about her parents. But it's not
And
just actors.
all the connections.
It's not just the actors. Like, you're seeing it now with Jennifer Lopez's kids. She's bringing them out on stage and singing with them. Mariah Carey's kids. She just had, like, her daughter, like, duet with her over Christmas singing that song.
Heather McDonald's kids. She just had Drake Tobias do a
text message. Yeah, a scamming text.
No, but I had him on the show last week at the end of the show explaining the crypto scam.
Taking the reins of Juicy Scoop into another direction.
Do you think, why don't I find another 20-year-old off the street to explain that? Why? Because I woke up that morning and Drake was explaining it to me, and I said, you explain it so well, can you come on the show and explain it?
Yeah. Your son, your guest.
He's a Nepo baby.
He's a Nepo baby.
He's a Nepo baby. He's right up there with Gwyneth Paltrow.
LeBron James' son's playing basketball. It's like all these guys are, it's everything.
It's the connection, but it's also there. You when you give birth to your kids, they often have the same interests, and even if and some of the same talents and some of the same genetics, and you can be a good actor too.
I
just
wish
because
I was
you're
a Nepo baby.
I
I'm
know.
not. I'm not a Nepo baby. I did it my way.
My parents are realtors, and I was a realtor.
Yeah.
And they, and I just like the selling Sunset Oppenheimer girlfriend, I got handed listings.
Yeah.
I didn't have to knock on the door.
Mauricio's daughter.
I was the original Mauricio's daughter.
The OG daughter.
I was. I mean, we were doing it before they were doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but I do think it's interesting, and I don't know. I mean, yes, I guess you can be jealous and mad about it, but but it's been going since the beginning of time.
I know, but it's like they're talking about the boom of it. Like, now all these celebrity kids are getting older now, and they're just like, there's people who are like going to Juilliard, and there's people who are like doing the work, and these kids are just like, I want to be on Euphoria, and they're like, okay, go lick some ass,
Do you know the girl that has that show, Ziwa? It's like Ziwe.
Oh, Ziwe, yeah.
Ziwe.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a clip of her. I
funny.
don't know if this was meant to go this way, but it was fucking brilliant. So she's interviewing Drew Barrymore.
Yes.
And Drew's like, I mean, I came from a Hollywood family, but they were like all dead and had lost everything, before I even started doing it. Granted, she worked at 6, right?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, and I lived in poverty or something.
Yes, she was like, I lived in poverty and my parents were immigrants or something like that. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry.
And Drew had a great attitude about it. It's a really funny moment. But again, I've said there's this new flex going on where people want to say like, oh, I did have it hard. It wasn't handed to me. And if you're a Nepo baby, just go, I'm a Nepo baby. But I also am talented, and I am a good actress, or I do love to write, or whatever you're doing, or I do know about business. In Drake's case, they said he is a natural storyteller. My Juicy Scooper said he is. Mm-hmm. I'm a storyteller. He tells a story well. What can you do?
Well,
Don't be
weird.
so mad about it.
You also have like, I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, you had the past presidential, family. You saw them. You also have like shows for children called like you have like Monster High, which I love Monster High. It's like the kids of like the monsters, and they all go to school together. It's very that like the daughter of the Wolfman and Dracula's daughter.
So you're saying the Nepo babies are in animation?
Yes, there's Nepo babies in animation where they're all like the cool kids, and then you have like I'm trying to think of other aspects of Nepo babies and Nepo how we're shoving it in their face. It's like
Well, I think there were times where all of a sudden somebody would become a star and they'd be like, that she's the niece
The daughter,
of
yeah.
Julia Roberts.
Yeah,
And
Emma,
at first
yeah.
you didn't know. Well, now there's no way to not know everything about everybody. So it's like, just embrace it.
we're gonna have Nepo animals, I'm sure, soon.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the dog of Julia Roberts. Oh
So
my God.
we'll see what the attitude is about.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about this.
What?
JoJo Siwa is very upset because she had this girlfriend who is like a famous influencer, had some stuff going on, named Avery Cyrus. And Avery had, another girlfriend, then they got together. Anyway, Annie just tried to explain the story, and you heard it. It was very confusing. I don't know if you catch it. Basically, JoJo went on and was like, now that we're broken up, I realized I was used for my celebrity so that Avery, my ex-girlfriend, could get all these more followers. And I was not catfish, but I guess pussyfished. I don't know what you would call it.
Not pussyfished.
I guess it still could be catfished.
Catfish.
Cat, whatever.
Tuna fish. Yeah.
She felt like she was duped.
Yeah.
She was in a lesbian love bomb, clout chasing situation.
Whore, just a whore. But also, you left out that JoJo's mom was recording JoJo and saying like, "What's wrong, honey? What can Mama
so
do?"
the mom's involved now in her TikTok drama,
Her
and the mom always
exploitation.
was involved because
Oh, for
originally
sure.
she was
Dance
on
mom.
Dance Mom, so she was a dance mom, and now she's a TikTok mom.
Yep.
Or a whatever social media mom. I don't know. What is JoJo doing like professionally besides being a lesbian?
She did do Dancing with the Stars.
That's right. She did Dancing with
did
Stars.
She got runner up. She was on So You Think You Can Dance.
But I mean, she
as a
doesn't
judge.
sell those bows anymore.
What does she sell? She
She-
sells like glitter and shit. I think she also has like
I mean, she used to sell so much stuff. I remember seeing a video where she's like, "I'm JoJo Siwa," and then like they went into this enormous like warehouse garage,
Yeah.
and the amount of bows and shit she could
Yeah.
sell to these kids, it was unbelievable.
It's so much. She was the Grand Marshal for Pride this past year. And I remember seeing her on a float and she was just like, and I'm like, this girl is going to like explode on this float. She was just like, hey, that's me. And you're like, oh my God, JoJo, are you okay? You're like, oh God.
Wow.
She's going to explode. She's just like nonstop.
Well, this is another crazy story. I don't know if you've heard about this one. This woman, I saw it last week and I read an article and I was like, too confused. Now I understand it. There's this mom. Just explain how it happened. She's a mom. She teaches basketball at a high school and she has a daughter at the high school. And the daughter had a boyfriend and the daughter and the boyfriend are getting all these awful text messages from a random number like this. Just saying, you're awful, you're the worst, we're, like threatening and everything. And the mom is like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, who are these people harassing my poor daughter and her boyfriend? Who are these jealous, awful people? And the school is like, this is very disturbing that your daughter's receiving this. So the school gets the police involved. Turns out all the text messages based on like tracking the IP was coming from the mother's phone.
The call is coming from inside the house. Oh.
It really was.
Yeah.
She's been arrested, and basically it's like a Munchausen by proxy situation where a mom would tell the world that her child was sick, convince the daughter that she was sick and had to take medicine, as you know these stories, to get attention.
Yeah.
So this is like Munchausen's by cyber something.
Cyber proxy.
So the daughter didn't know this was going on, and then she was getting attention for the daughter and for herself.
So that's what it was. She's like, my daughter's being bullied. Can
Yeah.
you believe it? Oh,
Yes.
So it was like, oh my God, how awful.
But at the same time, I don't believe the daughter was in on it. So at the same
No,
time,
no.
she was also torturing her daughter.
Yeah.
So then she would get attention from the daughter, who was like, Mom, please help me.
She's like, my daughter loves me so
yeah.
much.
So she was getting it like double fold. Crazy. Like, where do you go from there?
I don't
If you are
know.
that woman and got caught, I mean,
Your relationship with your daughter is gone.
I guess go.
Because wasn't there like
I guess
death threats?
go get a cute lunch with Sherry Papini, because you two have a lot in fucking
Jesus.
common. Like you're
Yeah.
two weirdos that hide under this guise of basketball coach, mother, when you're
Yeah.
the thirstiest, weirdest
That's so bizarre.
psycho.
Like threatening your daughter's life and that's what's gross, because there's one thing to do like cyberbullying and like especially being a grown woman and knowing that kids are very
And
like
a teacher. She's a basketball coach
yeah
at the school.
and knowing that kids are taking their lives because of cyberbullying. Like what would have happened had she done that?
Ugh.
Like what if her daughter was like, you know what? I'm out. Bye. Like, what would she have done?
Right.
Would she be like, oh,
Right.
now I get all the attention and the flowers because my daughter took, like, that's dark.
I didn't even think about
That's so
going
dark.
that far. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they found it out.
It's, what's it called? The Act. Remember the
Yeah.
Act? The Act Christmas special. I think that's what it is.
God,
Just like, it's so
insane.
weird. So weird.
Now, I want to talk about this. So I went to a fabulous Christmas party. And when we got there, there were two little people, both females, dressed in elf outfits.
Sure.
And they were greeting us. And when we were sitting there, like, can we bring you a drink? And they would go, I'd say, I'll have a skinny margarita. They'd come bring me a drink. So my friend posted something, and she got the little person elf bringing us a drink. And someone posted or shared with me, wanted to put it in the group. I can't believe Heather did this, that she was at a party
Did what?
where there were little people dressed up as elves. Isn't this not okay anymore?
They did their job.
And I was like, exactly what I was going to say. I was like, listen, Chewy, rest in peace,
Yeah.
wouldn't have a job if he wasn't a little person. Being a little person made him who he was, along with his other great personality traits.
Yeah.
There are beautiful girls that get hired as beautiful girls to do bottle service.
For sure.
That are also entertainers. These two women were entertainers, actors as well. This was a holiday gig.
There was an
that
ad out.
just like the bartender making the drink.
The psychic hotline.
Should we not hire that bartender?
Yeah.
Like,
Get over yourself.
so yeah, and
What am I-
if all of a sudden we just said, "Oh my God, you can never have a little person ever work your party or do anything."
So now we just don't give them any? Like,
I mean, they were treated with respect. They got paid well. They were very happy
Yeah.
there, just like the two girls behind the bar making the
Yeah.
drink, just like the guy that was taking the photography.
What if there was a hot girl dressed up like a slutty Mrs. Claus? Would that been a problem? Oh my God, you're objectifying this woman. She knows what she's doing. They know what they're doing.
I mean, I'm not going
We didn't force them to work the party.
Yeah, you're not going to take jobs away from somebody.
I mean, one of my best friends is a dwarf, Brad Williams, amazing comic, has several specials where he talks about being a dwarf and what it's like to live as a dwarf. You
because
can't,
that is who he is. That
and
is
people
what
support him. It's like,
and that is what his point of view of the world is, and that's what adds to his
yeah,
funny uniqueness.
get over yourself.
So I'm just saying.
No. That's,
Don't-
I mean,
don't- and if you
I'm
were-
sure they got drunk, or not. Maybe they had a good time and had a good
No,
party.
they were totally professional. They were like
Good.
dancing, but they were like working, and they were so sweet and so nice. And I'm just saying, like,
When there's a Velcro wall, that's when I have a problem.
well, of course there was.
Yeah. We
if
don't
it's
do
something
that.
like really just
Yeah.
and you're really taking advantage of people, but like. I'm just saying there might have been somebody that's listening to us right now that was like, oh my gosh, my husband suggested that we hire some little people to be elves at our Christmas party. And I was like, absolutely not. Just know that those those people that are part of that service that would have been sent out, just like cater waiters, now lost out on a gig.
Yeah, it's probably a party agency. It's like, hey, I'm trying to throw a Christmas party.
I just don't think there's anything negative in hiring someone and paying them a good amount to entertain and do their job.
Well, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, it'd be really good for our like icy Polar Express Christmas party. We're gonna get people. We're gonna dress them up like polar bears. How dare you?
Yeah.
Polar bears are endangered. They're dwindling away in the North Pole as we speak.
Why are you appropriating a polar bear? Unless you're a polar bear.
Yeah. You cannot.
Well, it would be hard
up.
to bring polar bears to Hidden Hills, so I was just gonna have some people dress up.
God, it looked like a cute party though.
Now I talked about this. Oh, I talked about this.
What?
This was a very sad thing that happened in Maui, where a 60-year-old couple, man and woman, were snorkeling. And he came out and said, I saw a shark, I got away from it, and now I don't know where my wife is, and they never found the wife. And
we always do these shark stories together.
Right. And I may have been one of these people that he said, my life's been awful. It has been deemed. They do believe she was killed by a shark. Other people said a shark wouldn't take an entire body, but maybe part of her body was washed away. The investigation has stopped. I brought up in my last episode about it. I said, I just want to make sure that people saw the two of them go in the ocean together, that it wasn't like the last time anybody saw her was, you know, at 10 o'clock at night when they were arguing at the restaurant before.
Right.
I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't a story that he told. And I now feel comfortable putting to this investigation to rest, unfortunately, that I don't believe that she was killed by her husband anymore.
I'm not buying it, Heather. I'm keeping the investigation open. Because so you're snorkeling with your wife, right?
Yes.
You're going to see if she gets attacked by a shark. You're going to see blood in the... What?
He said they were apart from each other.
Okay.
And people said, there was witnesses saying, we were screaming, we see a shark, we see a shark. They saw a shark like near...
They said it was feeding. They said there's a feeding.
Okay, this is what they said. Okay, sorry. So they're separated, snorkeling near, kind of not too far from the shore where the snorkel spots are. Mm-hmm. They see that a shark over here, the people, that it's feeding on something. They scream to who they see, which is they see his snorkel thing. They're like, get out of the water, get out of the water. There's a shark feeding over here. Mm-hmm. So the conclusion is that shark was feeding on his wife. And then he got out and was like, where's my wife?
Oh, yeah, she's gone.
Well, definitely she's gone.
Yeah.
But my concern before having those details was this his story? Did something happen the night before? Like that guy who was the survivor
she got a hole
producer.
In her oxygen tank, one of those things.
Or like, I killed her the night before, got rid of the body, and then pretended that we went out snorkeling together. You know what I mean? That's what I was wondering. Like, did I smother her the night before, get rid of the body at 4 a.m., and then walk out like we went out together?
Yeah. Oof, that's dark. Ooh. There's nothing more scary.
Chris Harrison has a podcast.
Of course. I mean, yes.
I know I predicted this, but I don't even think this is a good prediction anymore. Of course he does. And he is going to talk about...
The Bachelor.
When does this come out?
Yeah.
So he said, I might toss this whole thing. I'm going to talk about the whole situation of... For those of you guys, if you can't remember what happened.
Yeah, what happened? I don't remember it. There's too many scandals.
This girl, what's her name? Lindsay?
It was Rachel?
Rachel Lindsay.
Yeah.
Rachel Lindsay, who is a former it premieres in January. Rachel Lindsay, who is a former bachelorette, got a gig on like Entertainment Tonight or something. Mm-hmm. And then the season that he then went on, her show, the season that was happening was with Matt James, who was the first black bachelor. He was
right.
Mom was white, dad was black, tall, black, good-looking guy. He, one of his girls that was one of the leading people, but the show wasn't concluded yet, was a white girl. And it got revealed through the internet that when she was a freshman in college, she went to a party, in a frat party, in which they dressed in pre-Civil War attire.
like antebellum style?
Yes. And there's a photo of her in a big fancy Gone with the Wind type outfit. And so people were upset about that. And so they brought it up to Chris Harrison. And Chris Harrison went on way too long explaining why it shouldn't be a problem and that she's a nice girl. And I kind of think at the time he knew that she won.
Yeah.
So I think he was trying to protect the fact that they were going to end up together, because a lot of people were like, Matt James can't be with her. She's a racist, awful person, but they're like in love.
See. Yeah.
What's interesting, so he says this, he uses the word woke, which people don't like when people say woke because it's not seen as a positive word anymore.
It was also like when it was being used, it was very new.
Right. And they're like, who is this old fart talking about being woke? So it did not come off well. It was 14 minutes of him just doubling down and like just should have just ended it. So people got really upset with that. He did an apology and they're like, goodbye, you're off the show. He disappeared for 2 years. He got $10 million or something. And what do you do when you have $10 million? You start a podcast with iHeart. So anyway, he's going back and he's doing the podcast. I think he's a nice, talented guy. We'll see what he does with it. But anyway, what was crazy is so then Matt James does pick the Rachel girl, but then they have an after the rose ceremony with a different host, and Matt James can't look at her, is like, I can't even be, and he's like, do you want to give her a hug? No, I can't even hug her. Anyway, they were together the whole time. Yeah. They were dating the whole time, and they're together today, 2 years later.
Yeah, television. How about that?
But also, I felt like there was pressure on him, Matt James, to not really want to be with her. And now they do goofy videos all the time.
And Chris Harrison's out of a job.
And Chris Harrison's out of a job.
He's like, now I got a fucking podcast because of you assholes. I had the best gig in town.
Yeah.
I passed out roses. Good God.
But also when he went on that show, what was interesting is it wasn't like The Bachelor told him to go on. He booked it himself.
Yeah.
And was like happy to see Rachel, the host from the previous, and she just asked him, oh, this latest thing happened. And he was like, you know what? Like an 18-year-old girl that gets invited to a party might not have done the history of the party and da-da-da-da. Like she's a nice girl. And yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about it now, 3 years later, because it was such at a heightened time of like, oh my God.
Everything.
And the couple is going on vacations and making like smoothies together still.
Yeah.
As they should. They're in love. They're probably going to get married.
And was she from the South?
No, I don't
Okay.
know that it was. I don't remember where the party was, but it was just like she was in a sorority.
Mm-hmm.
The frat had their annual party. Now, the history of the thing was that fraternity, it was like associated with that fraternity, which is a national fraternity, and the national fraternity had already said, don't have this party anymore. Mm-hmm. And this particular chapter still had it, which was problematic. Even, definitely it was problematic always, but it was still problematic 6 years ago, and she should have known better. That was the argument.
Yeah, right. And
yeah,
it's like when you're trying to be cool in a fraternity or something, it's like, we're going to, we got these higher uppers telling us, no, we're going to do it anyway.
Right. It's the funnest part of the year.
Yeah. It's the best part. We're not going to tell them no. We do things our way.
So he was in, anyway, good luck for Chris Harrison. Did you see that P. Diddy's twins got these matching Range Rovers, but it was more disturbing about their outfits?
Yeah, what is going on?
So Sean Diddy Combs surprised his two twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah.
Ooh.
And they're wearing like basically
space
bathing suits. Space bathing suits. Now maybe that was a theme.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. And they are kids. But I do feel like there's a thing, like there's this other girl, TMZ reported, the Games clapping back at the haters who trolled him for letting his 12-year-old daughter wear this to a party.
Oh, my God.
And she's 12.
That's a 12-year-old?
Her outfit is not that bad. She just looks a lot older than 12.
She does look a lot older than 12.
Her pose is very
sexual.
It's very sexual, very Instagram influencer
Instathought.
model. Yeah. And so it's like a little satin
What,
bustier.
Instathought?
It's like a shiny silver bustier with the jacket. We always do this. We take
Yeah.
it all the shoulders.
I'm naughty.
And she's a full makeup, full fake lashes, everything.
Yeah.
One thing I have noticed about girls, and this is unfortunate, and I'm just going to speak to the moms of girls, something to consider. I've noticed that girls, they're children till about 9, and then they go to 25.
Yeah.
Like that 10, 11, 12, 13, it's like gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like 9 to 14, it's all the same. They're getting nails, they're getting highlights, they're acting
They're getting
too mature.
phones.
They're getting phones, they're on their TikTok, they're like, having a boyfriend fighting with guys, he cheated on you, they're whatever. And I know it's a hard place to be if that is your child's interest. Just like there's guys, someone would complain, oh, well, young boys, they're just playing video games all the time, violent video games. So I can hear it. But I'm just saying, like, it's just unfortunate because you're never going to get that time back. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't force your kid to, I guess, play with Barbies or dolls or whatever. But I would just say,
Like us. Yeah.
yeah. I would just say I would try, if I was a mom, Juicy Scooper, if your daughter's asking for the nails and all that kind of stuff, I would do it the way our moms would say about pierced earrings. I know culturally some people get earrings the day they're born, but like
Really?
in my age, it was
God.
like you can get it at 13 or you can get it at 12. That was just kind of like something you hoped, and then that would be your introduction to wearing jewelry, which is an adult thing to do, or whatever. I would just try to do it like that because it is hard. And it's not this girl's fault. I mean, this is what
No.
she's exposed to, and she's a pretty girl, and I can understand why the game wanted to fight back. But it is what it is, and you put it out there, and you're a huge famous person. Someone is going to comment.
Here's my thought.
Yes.
And I don't have a daughter, but I am an older brother of a sister. And I remember like being 16.
Yeah.
16. Like I feel like Diddy's twins. There was a show called My Super Sweet 16 on MTV.
Yeah.
And they would like, do it up big and celebrate,
Right.
I'm a woman, and that's kind of how it was. 12 is a totally different thing, especially with the amount of creeps
Yeah.
that we have mentioned who are out there, who are online.
Right.
These young girls have Snapchat, Instagram, all that stuff. Who knows? You're getting the president of Viacom texting you,
Exactly.
You never know who's
Yeah.
on the other end texting, pretending that they're like, I'm a 12-year-old boy too. Send me a picture of your naked body, And they're like, okay, I want boys to like me. That 12-year-old boy could be a 55-year-old man in a McDonald's.
Right, exactly.
You know?
And people try to tell their kid that all the time. And I saw like a YouTube or something where this guy would write to the daughter and everything and send a picture of like a 17-year-old that they think they're meeting this cute 17-year-old at the park. And they go to the park and the guy comes out and he's like, Jenny? And she's like, oh, hi. And he goes, it's Brian. And she's like, oh, hi. Like she clearly is like, wow, this guy doesn't look like he's 17. And then the dad comes out. It's like, Jenny, what the hell are you doing? She's like, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry, Dad. Like literally scares the shit out of me. But the dad is just like losing his mind because he's like, you could have been killed. And the girls are crying. But that's how quickly it can happen. They're like, oh, and the girl's writing once my dad goes to work, I can go down and meet you at the park.
Yeah.
In the dark.
Yeah, To Catch a Predator.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, my God, that was like one of my favorite shows.
But this is the opposite of To Catch a Predator in that they're kind of they're catching the daughter.
Yeah.
They're catching the daughter to teach her a lesson of why you don't do this.
Yes.
And so like almost like the adults, the parents were recruiting this guy to see if their daughter, no matter how much they told their daughter not to do this, would she do this? And
Right.
she was.
Yeah. I mean, I would say for your Juicy Scoop listeners, I would say those with daughters, teach them self-respect. Teach them that they're worth, that they're worth a lot more than what these bots and Instagram filters and all that. I mean, it's all garbage at the end of the day.
I remember seeing an Oprah many, many years
Yeah.
ago where girls were giving middle school girls post shortly after the Monica Lewinsky Bill Clinton scandal of where sex is not a blowjob. I did not have sex with that woman, so it's not blowjob is not sex. After that, there was this whole thing where middle school girls were giving blowjobs out like a candy on Valentine's Day. And they were on Oprah, and they were like, well, it's just something my friend asked me to do. It's just something I do for my friends, for my guy friends. And it's like, whatever. And then they took the boys in another room and filmed them talking about how they felt about these friends that do these favors for them.
Yeah.
And then shared it with the girls to say exactly what you're saying. These aren't your friends. This is how they perceive you.
Yeah.
And it was like so powerful.
Yeah. You don't need to be trendy. You don't need to there's people out there, there are friends out there who love you for who you are. You don't need to be that extra to get love that is going to be promised to you in a DM.
Right.
You know what I mean? And also, parents, take away your kids' phones and talk to them. You know, I feel like
Easier for you to say no.
I mean, you know what I mean? No, but
Right.
it's like as a kid, when your brain is
Yeah.
developing and you have all these questions about the world,
Of
like
course.
take your phone away at dinner time or whatever, like just have that talk. And if they're around 12, which is crazy to even talk about sex, for me at least.
Yeah.
Like have that talk. Be like this, there's these type of people out there. Like be careful. We want you to succeed and be happy. And
Also, we're not parenting experts, and even though I'm a parent, I don't know shit.
I mean, and also
Justin-
if you're a mom, don't cyberbully your daughter.
Also don't. And that's what we're going to end on. Justin,
Yes.
tell me what is the latest with your life?
Oh,
Where
my
can they
gosh.
find you? And do you have anything that we know you have a great podcast, Just Saying.
Yes, I do, which I have to have you on next year, so help me.
I will, of course.
Please.
I will, of course.
Good.
Go to a cute lunch after.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I'll buy.
Yes. Well, you don't have to, but we'll be in the city, so I'd like to go to like a cuter spot.
Okay. Sunset Towers right down the street.
That's what we're all about.
Okay.
And then, of course, your Instagram is Justin Martindale.
Yes.
You're going off on a very serious holiday trip
Yeah,
with Evan.
Some would call it a whirlwind of a Christmas vacation.
Seeing both sets of parents.
Woo, yes, and then booking it out to Palm Springs for New Year's.
Oh, that'll be so fun.
Yes.
Palm Springs and New Year's is great.
I can't
will
wait.
be in the British Virgin Islands, but I've spent many a New Year's
Oh,
out
that's right.
there.
You guys are going on the
and
boat.
it is always really nice, fabulous, clean, crisp weather. You can still hike. It's never cold. It's never rainy. It's the best.
We're actually going with a fun group of guys. Bobby is going with us, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll get him to make us cocktails or something.
Oh, wow. That's some
so
juicy
we'll see.
scoop.
Yeah,
All
it'll be
right. Tell
fun.
them hello and happy New Year.
I will.
All right. Love you.
All right. Happy New Year or Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Oh, my God. Time's up. My God. No, it's all.